How are we going, folks? Well, if you think I've only got 3 dogs, well, you're wrong. I've got 4 big black dogs. There he is. I'm talking poo today. Hey, not yours, his. How are we going, everyone? It's bloody freezing for starters. I've just come outside. I've been inside all day because it's just been too cold today. Coming back from Perth and enjoying Kalamunda, by the way. Loved it to death. Beautiful vibration, energy. All the participants, all the guests who turned up, patrons and all that, 5,000 plus it was in 6 hours. So a very successful event. And congrats to the couple, Andrew and Mandy, for the wonderful work they do, and all the organisers behind them as well. Now, I'm out in the garden here. Well, not in the garden, I'm in the lawn area. I'm standing near the dam, just in a part of our broader area of our gardens. And I thought I'd go for a little walk, A, to see what's going on, because I hardly get out here. B, to see how many bloody rabbit holes we got here, because they've just gone ballistic and digging holes randomly everywhere. And they only do it because they're curious. They either looking to hide because they naturally want to burrow, dig holes and burrow and protect themselves from predators. But they also do it just out of curiosity or smells. And there's a bit too many at the moment, folks. But before we go down the rabbit hole, let's go check out some of the poo we got around here, because I want to talk about animal manure, not dog manure, but more livestock like sheep, chickens, if you've got pigs or even horses. Now, we've got our horse, Krishna. He roams the property, pretty much most of the property, about 10 to 15 acres of it. Free range, he can eat whatever he likes on the ground, roses and things like that. And I just want to check his poo out and see what's going on there, because he's been doing a lot of that. And just before we started filming, I was told it's a good thing that we let him out again, because he's actually feeding our lawn area. Now, our lawn here, we try to keep it down low as possible. And that's the intent, to keep it nice and beautiful and good looking. But the downside to that is we do knock out a lot of good beneficial insects that live within the lawn, especially when you're allowed to grow a little bit taller and things like that. But in saying that, our lawns are nice, with all respect, considering that we've got kikuyu growing, cooch and buffalo and all the ryegrasses that blow in as well. But what I want to show you, and sorry Cara, is have a look at this. This is horse poo. It's been broken down. Now, I doubt if this is any older than a week, and the way it's actually formed itself there or spread out is because, well, it looks like to me the birds have come along here and they've been hunting here for lots of little insects. And we do get a lot of insects when it comes to poo, and it's not just horse poo, cow and sheep. Oh, maybe not so much sheep because it's all those little granulated balls, but as far as horse poo is concerned, well, the dung beetle does turn up. It does turn up and starts breaking it down. There are different types of dung beetles. You got ones that burrow into it, others that actually sit and bathe in the poo. And then there are others that like to roll it into little balls and take it down into their burrows and bury it into the earth. And that's what I call slow release, nature's own fertilizer. Now, I want to show you some more fresh poo and see what we can find. Let's go for a walk. Did you find some, Cara? Hey, this one better? You can see this one's been scattered around as well. I reckon the birds are doing it before the beetles get into it. So, Cara, no. That's not dinner. Cara, come on. This way, come on. You got to wash your mouth out. We've got to keep the dogs away. No, come on, get away. They know the good stuff when they smell it, and they can see it as well. Have a look at this. What a pole here, eh? He's done a fresh one there, and now have a look at this one right next to it there. That's broken down. So that's about a week or so old. It's already broken down, and it's going to work its way into the soil. Now, that's nature's own fertilizer. You know, folks, it's all about keeping something natural in your garden. You know, we've got our products, our superfood, and that's made by Soldierfly Frass, which is a beautiful organic approach to feeding your garden as well. But when you've got animals and they're clean animals and they're fed well, they give you a beautiful organic food, and that's the cycle. That's what we're closing. Whatever comes out of the ground, because that's what they eat, goes back into the ground, and then you get all the beneficial insects that come along, because it'll host a huge colony of different types of insects that will live in the manure itself in the early stages. Now, that's super early. That's probably as fresh as you can get it. The dogs already got to it before we got to it here. You can see that. Now, that will end up turning into that. Can you believe that? And when that spreads out into the garden, it feeds the microbial life in the soil. And that's what we want to do here. If you're using a manure, whether it's your own animal and you got some in the garden, like a sheep or something, or a goat, or you're buying bags of manures, make sure it's a clean-based manure, because there's so much about manures that we really don't know when it comes to purchasing it from your local stores. In all respect to the owners of those stores, they don't make the manure themselves. They buy the bags in, as they buy all other things for their garden centres and hardware stores and outlets. But where it's come from is the question that you've got to ask yourself. Where does it come from? How is it collected? How is it processed? And really, at the end of the day, what's in there that's going to really benefit your garden or not? Oh, look at this. He's doing a good job. He's spacing it out neatly for me here. We've got a pile here, a pile there, and they're all been scattered. You can see it's been dug over. Birds and little insects are coming in there and doing their business and feeding the soil, folks. And I can tell you, this stuff is pretty clean. Now, here he comes on cue. Now, I'll let him out as often as we can, more times than not, folks. And this time of the year, the grass isn't growing. Christian's getting a bit of a better feed because there are a few plants around the garden, even roses that he gets to chew on. Some of them have still got some of the late flowering seasons. Oh, he's yawning. You missed it. He's nice and chilled. There he goes. Oh, someone's relaxed. Come here. Come and say hello. Come here, mate. He's got his winter coat on, coming on now. He's starting to look like a bit of a donkey, eh? There you go, buddy. You good boy? Oh, good boy. So manures, folks, if you're not making your own compost and you can't get our fertiliser, for example, our superfood, really? Come on, good boy. And you're going to buy some manures, really do your homework on it, because the one thing I want to tell you about manures is because they're not from, well, predominantly not from, what's the words here that I want to use? Open farms, I suppose, where they're grazing freely. The livestock, that is, they're not going out there. Imagine this, the practicality of this now. You've got a farm on 5,000 acres, you've got so many head of cattle out there, and they're doing their business all over the place, right? If they're not being crop rotated, or rotated, I should say, around the farm, they'll be scattering their manures everywhere. Now, how would you gather that manure? You go out there with a bulldozer or a bobcat and scrape it all up. Along that journey, you'll be taking up all the weeds and the grasses and things like that as well with it. Now, that's one scenario. The other one is basically the livestock are basically fenced in round or square yards, and I'm talking lots of livestock, and they're basically situated in an environment where there isn't any lawn, there's just dirt there, and they're all crammed up together and they're all pooing in the same space. Now, on the practical side of gathering, that's a great model that you can gather your manure more efficiently. But the issue with that is how is the livestock being maintained? How are they fed? How are they being taken care of? In those closed sort of circles or environments, they need to be fed up heavily. They've got to be drenched, I suppose. They've got to be getting treatments, I should say, on looking after their health. And they're fed lots of grains and things like that instead. Are you hiding? Eh? Are you hiding? What's going wrong? You all right? No, you're not going to get a feed because you've got plenty of food to eat here already. All right? So the livestock, when it's fenced off in yards like that, they're not in the best of health, bottom line, okay? So we've got to supplement them, or they've got to supplement them. That ends up in the manures. All right? I'll let you do. He's got a harder head than me, so I've got to be careful. All right, mate. Okay, I love you too. All right, so the manures will have some of those toxins in there, and they end up in the bags that we buy, unfortunately. And I'm not having a go at anybody, folks. I'm just calling it out the facts, and that's all it is. All right. You're going to take me for a ride. What's wrong? What's wrong? Did I spook you? You did it to yourself, mate. Settle down, right? Settle down. You're okay. You're a good boy. Sorry for being interrupted by him. He's gorgeous. I love him. But I don't ride him. He's just there for looks and to feed the lawn area for us. And that's what I'd love to be able to do, is actually take his manure and back him up into the garden, right? And then we just put the manure straight into the vegetable garden, eh? How good that would be? Or in the compost. Anyway, you go neat. So when it comes to feeding your garden, do your homework. Find out where it's coming from. You want to know where our superfood comes from? Email me and I'll send you all the details so you can see that. And we'll actually go out there at the plant and film the process on how it's made so you can understand it better and how beneficial it is for your garden as well and your compost. So, but if you're going to be buying cow manure, sheep manure and things like that, think about where it's coming from and how it's harvested and how it's produced and what type of animal it is and how it's been maintained, because ultimately whatever goes into the animal is going to come out the other end, and whatever comes out the other end, most times than not, it's got to be recycled and it ends up in a bag. Now, it may be processed for a while and allowed to decompose a little bit longer, and sometimes a little bit too long, and you'll find that your manure, like your cow in particular, is very alkaline, and that's not going to do a lot of good to your garden especially. So if your alkalinity is right off on the high pH level, and then it's also got all sorts of, what's the word for it, contaminants, if you'd like, in the manure, well, that's going to end up in your garden. And then you end up having problems and you're saying, well, I'm doing all the right things, but it's not working. And then you become disheartened in gardening and you think it's all too hard. Let's just stick to the supermarkets. It's not the right answer, and it's not your fault at the end of the day. So be well informed, do your homework, and understand exactly what's going on when you're using something in your garden. And that way you get the results that you want to see, the way Mother Nature has intended for us to be able to grow. Are you coming over here now? That's it, knock him over. That's it, come and knock him over. What's wrong, buddy? Oh, you're such a good boy. Yep, and dusty too. So you've been sitting out in the rain, huh? Not going under cover? You like the rain? Getting a bit of a wash? Got to give him a brush down, it's a bit messy. Check out our website, vasilisgarden.com, and our end of financial year sale has started, folks. So take advantage of the great discounts every day for you to enjoy in your garden. And look after your health and look after your family and friends. From me, Vasili, Maresi.